Okay, I'm bending down to the camera so I can see directly in. I'm here today to talk about a new kind of violin tuner. Not, getting your strings in tune kind of thing, but the actual physical peg here. The old-fashioned kind, which have been around for more than 500 years, are just a friction peg, as you may well know. It's basically just a stick jammed in a hole. And it's got to be jammed in there good and hard so it sticks and holds the string in tune. Pretty archaic, antiquated notion. And finally, a company has come out. Well, one man invented it, and I think Knilling Violins has bought him up and produced them for him. The Knilling planetary tuners are a godsend to people who want to tune easily and people who want to explore crazy tunings on the fly, which I try to do now. So this is an example of an old violin. A normal violin is with a friction peg. You all know when you tune, you have to push in. It's very hard. You have to do one hand. You have to push in, make sure it's stuck in there. They change in temperature changes. They change in seasonal changes, humidity changes. They're terrible, I think. If it's really well done, it's a perfectly matching stick to a perfectly fitting hole. They can work, of course, so that would have changed a long time ago. But finally, someone has done something better. On my personal violin, I have these installed now. The Knilling planetary tuners. So, take a look. They look just like the old tuners. Now, some people might be horrified by this, but what happens is that part of it has to be permanently glued into the wall of the peg box. Oh my God. But I think it's well worth it. I don't think it damages the instrument. And this one has been damaged already by falling off a stage, 10-foot stage on an asphalt driveway, but that's another story. How it works, if I get close enough to the camera, is it's three separate parts. The head part, the tuner part here, turns separately from this section, which is permanently glued to the wall of the peg box. And a third part internally, where the string is actually attached, moves because of a worm gear inside, moves slower than this. So it's much like a guitar tuner now. You've all probably seen guitar tuners. They're geared things. And when you turn the tuner on the guitar, it might be an 8-to-1 ratio. So it might take 8 times around of the head of the tuner for the part attached to the string to go around once. So it's a lot harder to break a guitar string. That's one of the first things I tell a new student in a first lesson. It's like, be very careful tuning, because the standard tuners are direct drive, 1-to-1. It barely takes, let me grab the other violin. As many of you may know, it barely takes an eighth of a turn to get it all the way slack, hardly making a note. Watch this. Can you see that? There it is, almost up to pitch. This violin's out of tune. But there it was. You see that? That much? Barely an eighth of a turn to get it up to pitch. And that's the first thing a new student does. They go twist, thinking it's like a guitar tuner, and snap the string immediately. So, no more of that with the Knilling tuners. They are, I'm told, a 4-to-1 ratio, which isn't so bad. So you don't even need fine tuners, because these act as your fine tuners. Check it out. So I'm going to hold this and hold it in front of the camera. And you don't have to hang on to them. You don't have to push them in. They can tune by themselves. And also it makes possible so you see how I grabbed it on one side? You only have to go and hold it and pull it and push it in. It makes, if you want to try changing tunings, it's very easy. You don't have to stop the whole band. You can do it right on the fly. Say I want cross tuning. It was a G, D, G, D. I did it during the song. Back to standard. There's crazier tunings. You gotta be careful. It's the one phenomenon. It's a little bit hard. One drawback is that all the strings are attached to the same tailpiece, and changes of pressure on the tailpiece will maybe affect some of the other strings. It's one drawback. Maybe I could invent a new kind of tailpiece. I'm working on that. But either way, you could never even get close to this with an old-fashioned friction tuner. Another drawback of changing during the song is that strings take a second to kind of settle in. If you get it down to pitch, like I took this string all the way down to D, an octave down to do that Scotland the Brave song. They tend to, like people, they tend to go back to where they used to be going. You know, like it kind of sharpens itself somehow. I don't know. So you got to adjust it every few minutes, but that's not a big deal. So any crazy tuning you could do right on the fly and not have to worry about it, just like a guitar player in a way. I love them. I think it's a great thing. I'm very proud that Knilling has taken it on. And I can't remember the name of the man who actually invented them. He makes some on his own as well. He makes them often with different heads. This is a simulated ebony plastic. Not a bad looking thing. And he makes them with real ebony, he makes them with boxwood, he makes them with, can't remember, some other materials too. So you have selections of different kinds of peg heads as well. Kind of nice looking. So I'd give him a plug. I can't remember his name though. You could look it up for sure on the internet. So I love them. They've been a boon to me. I'm proud to be part of a change. As you know, Fiddle Jam Institute is all about breaking the mold, so to speak, of the violin world. I think it's about time this antiquated notion of friction pegs goes away. These are fine. They look the same, so we don't break that tradition, and they work great. So check them out. They cost about around $100. That's what I charge in my shop to install them. And you'll see that maybe around that figure. Maybe some will charge a little more. Again, it does take gluing that into the wall. It's not a permanent, ruining of your instrument. It does take threading. It has threads, so you thread it into the wall. Just widening of the peg hole just a little bit. I think it's fine for the benefits. I don't think it damages the instrument, and I get the benefits to play it. So there's the report. Hope you enjoy. Knilling Planetary Tuners.